Did Jim Carrey secretly send a doppelganger to accept his honorary award in Paris? Or did the internet completely lose its mind over a few viral clips? That's the question that set social media on fire after Jim Carrey appeared at the 51st César Awards in France in early 2026 to receive an honorary César, one of the most prestigious recognitions in European cinema. What should have been a straightforward celebration of a decades-long career instantly spiraled into conspiracy theories, slow-motion analysis videos, and wild speculation that the man on stage wasn't Jim Carrey at all. The footage looked simple enough. Carrey walked out in a sharp black suit, his hair was styled differently than fans were used to seeing him, his face appeared fuller. He looked calmer, more grounded. He began speaking in French, confidently, carefully, with deliberate pacing. The audience applauded warmly, and within hours the internet erupted. That's not him. Look at his jawline. His eyes are different. They replaced him. Clone, body double, mask. The theories multiplied by the minute. TikTok creators zoomed in on his smile. X-users compared screenshots from the mask in 1994 to his 2026 appearance. Instagram Reels ran side-by-side clips of his Ace Ventura expressions against the Paris speech. Comment sections filled with certainty, not curiosity, certainty that something was off. But here's the reality. Jim Carrey personally attended the ceremony. The award had been arranged months in advance. He prepared a speech. He rehearsed the French. He traveled to Paris. He walked onto that stage himself. So how did we get from a Lifetime Achievement Award to full-blown doppelganger hysteria? To understand the reaction, you have to understand who Jim Carrey has been in the public imagination for over 30 years. When Carrey exploded onto the scene in the early 1990s, he wasn't just another comedian, he was a phenomenon. In 1994 alone, he delivered Ace Ventura: Pet Detective, The Mask, and Dumb and Dumber. 3 massive hits, 3 unforgettable performances, 3 examples of physical comedy so elastic and exaggerated that they almost didn't feel human. His face moved like rubber, his body snapped and twisted with cartoonish precision. He screamed, contorted, and stretched expressions beyond what seemed physically possible. For many fans, that version of Jim Carrey became permanently imprinted in memory. Wide-eyed, explosive, unpredictable. He wasn't just funny, he was chaotic in a way that felt revolutionary. He had a kinetic energy that separated him from every other leading man of the time. While others delivered lines, Jim detonated them. While others moved across a set, Jim ricocheted through it. And that image, that hyper-elastic, wide-eyed, unstoppable force froze in time in the minds of millions. Then he pivoted. The Truman Show in 1998 showed audiences that he could handle emotional depth and quiet restraint. Man on the Moon revealed a level of commitment so intense that stories from the set became legendary. Eternal Sunshine of the Mind proved he could play heartbreak with subtlety and vulnerability. But even as he matured artistically, the public image remained rooted in that 90s dynamo. People respected his dramatic performances, but they remembered the rubber face. Fast forward to the 2020s.
Carrey became more selective with projects. He reprised his role as Dr. Robotnik in the Sonic films, once again tapping into that exaggerated physicality, reminding audiences he still had it. At the same time, he openly discussed stepping back from Hollywood. He spoke about fulfillment beyond fame. He suggested he was content, that he had done enough. He painted, he explored philosophy, he made fewer red carpet appearances. He wasn't constantly in front of cameras. And that absence is critical. When a celebrity disappears for a while, the public freezes them at the last vivid memory. The brain doesn't age them gradually, it preserves them like a screenshot. So when they reappear years later, older, calmer, visibly changed, it can create a subtle psychological jolt. At the César Awards, Carrey did not bounce across the stage. He did not contort his face for laughs. He didn't unleash explosive slapstick. He stood composed. He spoke thoughtfully. He smiled gently. For some viewers, that contrast alone felt suspicious. Add in natural aging, he is now in his 60s, and suddenly people began scrutinizing every detail. His cheeks looked fuller, his jawline softer, his voice slightly deeper, his pacing more measured. But that's what time does. Faces change, skin changes, muscle tone shifts, energy levels evolve. And yet, in the age of ultra-high-definition cameras and obsessive online analysis, change becomes evidence. The conspiracy gained traction when users began speculating about hyper-realistic prosthetics. Some floated the idea of elaborate Hollywood-grade masks. Others claimed technology had advanced enough to create undetectable stand-ins. The theories escalated quickly because they were dramatic, and drama spreads. But thrilling is not the same as plausible. There was no credible evidence of a body double, no conflicting travel records, no reports of Carrey being elsewhere, no whispers from backstage insiders. Attendees described him as present, engaged, and interacting naturally before and after the ceremony. The ceremony itself was not secretive. It was a public, high-profile event filled with industry professionals. He was introduced with a montage celebrating his career. The audience reportedly rose in a standing ovation. He spoke about his father. He joked about Canada and France. He thanked international audiences for embracing his work. Nothing about it suggested impersonation, but social media doesn't operate on patience. It operates on momentum. Once the first viral clip framed the question, "Is this really him?" it planted doubt, and doubt, once seeded, multiplies rapidly online. Reaction videos appeared within hours. Creators dissected his facial symmetry. People compared ear shapes from old interviews. Others slowed his speech to analyze vocal tone. The algorithm rewarded the most sensational interpretations. This pattern isn't new. Over the years, multiple celebrities have faced replacement rumors. It's almost a modern urban legend. When a public figure looks noticeably different after time away, some corners of the internet jump to extraordinary conclusions instead of ordinary ones. And there's something uniquely ironic about Jim Carrey being the subject of it. This is the actor who starred in a film about manufactured perception, the actor who embodied Andy Kaufman so fully that reality blurred with performance, the performer who built a career on stretching identity through expression. Now, identity was being stretched around him. The Cesar appearance became less about honoring decades of influence and more about debating bone structure. It overshadowed the significance of the honorary Cesar itself, a recognition of global impact, cross-cultural comedy, and a body of work that shaped multiple generations. France has long embraced physical comedy. Carrey's expressive style transcended language barriers decades ago. His films found massive audiences internationally. Receiving this honor wasn't random, it was recognition of that reach. Yet, instead of celebrating that legacy, headlines focused on freeze-frame comparisons. Some insisted his smile lines were off. Others said his eyes lacked the same intensity. A few suggested voice modulation, each theory more elaborate than the last. But conspiracy narratives often ignore logistics.
For a body double theory to be true, dozens, if not hundreds of people would need to participate in secrecy. Event organizers, translators, camera operators, editors, security, fellow attendees. There would need to be motive. Why replace him? Why risk exposure? Why not simply decline the award if he couldn't attend? There was no motive, no benefit, no evidence. The simplest explanation, and the correct one, is that Jim Carrey aged and appeared publicly after a relatively quiet period. And maybe the reaction reveals something deeper. Jim Carrey represented youth for many fans, unfiltered chaos, limitless energy. Seeing him calmer may have felt like confronting time itself. Instead of processing that shift, some externalized it, projecting it onto the idea that the man had been replaced. But he hasn't been replaced. He has matured. The footage from Paris shows a man comfortable in stillness, a man no longer dependent on exaggerated movement to hold attention, a man reflecting on his journey. If anything, the composed presence demonstrated evolution. There's also the technical reality. Stage lighting alters perception dramatically. European broadcast color grading differs from American studio lighting. Camera focal lengths can subtly reshape facial proportions. Grooming changes, slightly fuller hair, subtle beard trimming can transform appearance more than people realize. Combine all of that with high-definition scrutiny, and you get visual difference, not duplication. Interestingly, viewers who watched the full-length ceremony rather than short viral snippets reported nothing unusual. It was the clipped, zoomed, slowed fragments that fueled outrage. That speaks volumes about how we consume media now. We don't watch events, we watch edits. We don't absorb context, we analyze pixels. We react before we reflect. For days, Jim Carrey clone trended. Some treated it as a joke, others insisted something was being hidden. The line between satire and sincerity blurred. Meanwhile, Carrey himself remained largely quiet publicly, and silence online often fuels speculation, but it doesn't confirm it. Many public figures choose not to amplify fringe claims by responding in detail. Those familiar with him suggested he found the situation more amusing than alarming. Given his history of exploring ego, illusion, and identity in interviews, it wouldn't surprise him if he saw the irony. Because this story isn't about cloning, it's about perception. It's about nostalgia colliding with aging. It's about how uncomfortable people can be when icons evolve. Jim Carrey did not send a doppelganger. He boarded a plane. He attended an award ceremony. He delivered a speech in French. He accepted a lifetime achievement honor, and the internet transformed it into science fiction. There's something almost poetic in that. A man who built a career exaggerating reality now finds reality exaggerated around him. A performer known for elastic transformation becomes the subject of imagined transformation. But strip away the noise and the truth is straightforward. The man on the stage in Paris was Jim Carrey. Older, wiser, different from 1994 because 1994 was over 30 years ago. The honorary Cesar stands as another milestone in a career defined by reinvention. From slapstick icon to dramatic actor to semi-retired legend, Carrey has never remained static. Expecting him to look frozen in time ignores the essence of who he has always been, someone constantly evolving. So the next time a viral clip urges you to question what you're seeing, pause. Consider the simplest explanation. Consider time. Consider lighting. Consider growth. Because sometimes the truth isn't mysterious. Sometimes it's just human. Jim Carrey showed up. He accepted his award, and he reminded the world that legends age. They don't duplicate. Make sure to like, subscribe, and stay tuned for more celebrity updates just like this.